The picture above me should be slightly chilling to you. Do you guys remember the brain organoids? Yes, you can grow tiny human brains from human stem cells, and then you can transplant them into all sorts of animals. These are typically used as a proxy for human beings. The idea is that if we can get a mouse or a rat in a lab that looks very much like a person or, has human brain components, we can study them rather than studying people. The other side of this is for stroke research. It is a potential treatment for people with all sorts of brain disorders because you can augment a mouse with human brain components. I mean, you can also augment a mouse with mouse brain components so long as they are healthy cells, and research is ongoing for replacing tissues in the brain of these animals with the modified cell types. This does lead to a lot of questions about what makes you you. If we can replace your brain, which, it does seem it's possible, although we are at the very beginnings of that research, are you you? And this paper is pretty wild. They took stem cells, so the parts that would eventually become a brain, and injected it into a portion of the mouse's brain where normally cerebral spinal fluid and new neurons are made. The brain organoid grew into an ectopic brain-like tissue blob. They affectionately called it BLT. So they essentially grew a small nascent brain within the whole brain, and as it grew, it began to make projections into the rest of the mouse's brain. And they've even found that it can make projections down into the spinal cord. These things are very invasive, and we don't entirely know if that's a bad thing. Here's a little diagram of where those projections went. So it essentially made them throughout the mouse's entire brain, different components of it. They also did this with mice of different ages. So the older they were, the less likely that the host brain, and yes, they do use the word host, is to reorganize around the nascent brain. But either way, it does work. These kinds of techniques have been used for Parkinson's-induced mice, for example, so that they can make the appropriate dopamine that they need. It does change your abilities, and some have postulated that you could use this to augment human intelligence. Now, it's not traditionally studied just intelligence in these kinds of systems, although some researchers did give nascent mice human neurons, and they were smarter when they grew up, but there was a lot of public backlash about it. One of the goals with this kind of research, and it's what's being studied right now, is cell replacement therapy. Now, I could see cell replacement therapy, so replacing the host's brain with a new brain that is essentially fetal in nature, something that functions better, and that is part of the goal. Yes, this could end up being a therapy for age-related conditions in your brain, or just people who, want to have a better brain as they get older. Now, we do have to overcome the issue of the host brain not reorganizing as efficiently around the new brain in older individuals. Maybe this picture is not as chilling to others as it is to me. Just look at those projections, those axons that are being extended from the BLT, or I might just call it a parasite, and just innervating into the rest of the brain. And that was ectopic. That was a secondary brain that they grew inside a space within the host brain. Now, the question a lot of people ask about this is, where are the ethics involved? And yes, they are there. And researchers have pulled back a little bit on talking about the spooky aspects because this could have a real impact on future funding. And obviously, everyone wants the research to move forward. And you will find people who work directly in the field. They actually really do enjoy the more spooky aspects of it, like putting brains in robots. The fact that brain organoids are much better at navigating 3D space than traditional LLM models. And we are also seeing brain organoids being combined with AI. Even disembodied, even connected to electrodes, brain organoids are able to do the kind of nonlinear thinking that people are typically able to do. That also includes running a soft, squishy body. So I don't know exactly where this field is going. I'm excited every time I see a new advancement, but there is a certain degree of trepidation. I kind of want to see what brain organoids can do in robots, and the idea of augmenting intelligence with brain organoids or healing strokes, which traditionally have no effective treatments. I don't know. Sign me up. I'm here for it, to be honest. When the robots rebel, or the brain organoids, I will probably be the first person to tell you about it. Follow for more.